In this video, I'm going to be talking about the importance of our personal values and their connection to a fulfilling life. I'm also going to share one way to identify some of your values, and I'm going to talk about how to start honoring our values in order to live a more fulfilling life. Hey everyone, I'm Alex. I'm a life and mindset coach, and I'm here to help you start your dream biz so that you can leave your day job. So I have personal values around ease and balance and freedom and fun in life. And before I quit my 9-to-5 job, these values were really out of whack. They weren't being honored in my life. I really just had this overall sense that my job was kind of dictating my schedule and how I lived a lot of my life. And when I was living this way, a lot of my values that I just mentioned were not being honored. And so this can lead to a lot of internal friction and frustration and dissonance that we don't really know necessarily where it's coming from when we aren't aware of our values. So it led to me feeling really exhausted and emotionally depleted at the end of every day, but I didn't exactly know why. And it also led to me using a lot of unhealthy coping or buffering behaviors to kind of get through the day and to unwind. So this looked like using caffeine and sugar and binge watching Netflix at the end of the day because I really just wanted to decompress. So it was clear to me that I really wanted to set my own schedule and have a lot more time and freedom in my life. But before I realized what my personal values were, I didn't necessarily know that this was connected to me and my personal values. And now that I have left my 9-to-5 job, I'm able to express my values so much more fully in my life. So my mornings are no longer rushed and trying to get to work on time, and they really just start out slow and spacious, and I have that space to feel relaxed in my day. I have time to do things like yoga and meditation and journal before I get started with my day. I also have the ability to go for a walk at 10 a.m. or at 2 p.m. or whenever I would like, and this really leads me to feeling like I'm really having that work-life balance and I'm able to just live life and be in the moment. And for me, that's a lot of fun. And I'm also able to work not only whenever I want or for how long I want, but from wherever I want as well. And this really allows me to lean into my own personal rhythms. So some days you're just more tired than others, and maybe you don't want to work a full day that day, and that's fine. And other days when you have more energy, you can work longer and you don't need to worry about kind of forcing yourself to hit that 8 hours every day. Another thing is the ability to have the freedom to work from home when you're feeling a little bit more introverted or cozy, and to work from a coffee shop when you want to feel like you're out and seeing people and sort of out in the world. So having the ability to do these things really allows me to honor my personal values of ease and balance and fun and freedom. And I just want to be clear that this example is just my own personal example. And if you're someone who has values around more like structure and stability, then you're maybe someone who's okay with more of that structure of the 9-to-5 job because the stable paycheck gives you that sense of security. And so maybe if you're feeling out of balance, it's because something else is off and some other values are not being honored. And so the reason that values are so important in our life is that they're like our internal compass or like our internal North Pole. And when we are honoring our values, we just feel this sense of internal rightness. And when we aren't, we just feel friction or dissonance or this feeling that something is off. So you can feel like externally you're living a great life, but something just feels off and you may not know why. And it could be because your values are out of whack or they're not being honored. And this can happen because we don't often take the time to really consciously reflect on what are my values? Am I living them? Who knows? We usually just by default will follow the values of society or our family as we grow up, and we don't really think, hey, are these my values or are these someone else's values? And when we are out of balance with our values and they aren't being honored, that internal wrongness, if you will, or dissonance or friction can lead to a lot of frustration and dissatisfaction. And it's not really an intense amount of dissatisfaction. It's really low key, and we can absorb a lot of this internal feeling of friction without really making changes in our life. And one of the ways that we do that is by using unhealthy coping or buffering mechanisms. So this can look like needing a drink at the end of the workday, or needing coffee to get through the workday, or using sugar to emotionally buffer how you're feeling. Or maybe it's excessive working out to try and reduce stress, or binge watching Netflix every night because you just want to veg out and you don't want to think about anything. So, how do we start to identify our own personal values? The best way to do this is to discover them through our life experiences. Often there can be this tendency to want to look at a list of values and sort of say, okay, yeah, I got this one, this one, this one, but those aren't necessarily our values. That's just us looking at a list and saying, yeah, this one sounds good. I want that to be my value. It doesn't necessarily reflect what is actually your value. So here's a question you can ask yourself to start to uncover some of your values in life. Can I remember a moment when life felt especially meaningful or rewarding? And dive a little deeper here and really start to dig into what made it so meaningful. What were you doing? Who were you with? And once you dive a little deeper into that, then you can start to pull out some values from that experience. So an example from my life is a couple years ago, I went on a solo road trip through the state of Oregon, and I really didn't have a schedule. I had kind of some places I wanted to hit along the way, but I didn't have any sort of itinerary, and I just drove and made it where I did and would figure things out along the way. And so I felt a lot of freedom on that trip, a lot of balance and ease, because I was able to just sort of do as I pleased and follow my own rhythms and just explore and have fun. So from that experience, I could pull out some values around adventure and travel and fun and ease and some of the values that I talked about earlier in this video. And so hopefully you have a couple life experiences that you can reflect on and start to pull some values from. And once you have that sort of working list, I want you to go ahead and choose your top 10 and then rank them. What is your first place value all the way down through number 10? And these will be your top 10 values. And once you have that list, you can start to reflect on the sources of dissatisfaction in your life. So what you can look for is top values that aren't being honored at all. Maybe you have a top value of adventure, but you only get 2 weeks of vacation every year and you're really tired on the weekends. Then maybe you just don't have the energy to be as adventurous as you would like. Another thing you can look for is values that are out of balance. So maybe you are overemphasizing one value to the detriment of all your other values. So let's say you have a value around security, but it's like number 6 on the list. And say all of your decisions and your life is structured around feeling more secure and having that sense of security. So that value is being met. But if your other values are kind of suffering because all of your decisions are being made around feeling secure, then things are going to feel out of whack. So what can you do about this? Well, once you have some awareness around the problem where things are out of balance or things aren't being honored, it's time to start getting intentional. How can you intentionally start honoring your top values in your life? So this may look like saying no to some things and saying yes to things that you normally wouldn't. And you can use your values list as a way to help you make decisions in your life. So you can ask yourself, will this decision help me honor, my top 3 values more effectively in my life? And the answer may not always be, yes, it's going to help me honor my values, but you can have a more conscious discussion with yourself and really make conscious decisions. When you know you aren't going to be honoring a value, then you can consciously make that decision and you know that there's another trade-off for you that you're okay making. So that's the exercise. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you had a good time identifying your values, and I hope that you're able to start living life in alignment with your values and you'll start to feel that sense of internal peace and internal rightness that's going to replace the frustration and friction that you may feel, but you don't know where it's coming from. So if you did enjoy the video, please make sure to give me a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. I would love to hear back from you. And if you like this type of content, then make sure to subscribe for weekly videos like this. And I'll see you in the next video.